Hello, and welcome to So You Think You Can Rule Persia, the podcast where we rate and review all the kings of Persia from Diocles to Yazdegerd III. I am Sariel, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Umberto, my pronouns are he, him. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 89, Shapur V, also known as Shapur Shahrbaraz.
89. We've been doing this a while.
Yep.
This is fun.
Been doing this for a long time, Sariel, and there are 3 episodes left until the end. Yazdegerd 3 is almost here.
Oh boy.
Yes, correct.
So this is Yazdegerd. I was gonna say great grandpa, but probably not. This is we're in a period of turmoil.
Going, Sariel.
Great grandpa in the
normal
kingly
times, yes, great grandpa
sense of things.
Yes, very much so. Because, as we've seen in the past episodes, we've not really done great. So the past 3 kings have not lasted more than 2 years. And, well, let's see if the next 4, including today's episode, will last anything more. Because, yeah, things are not good.
Nope.
What are your predictions, Sariel? Because I did mention that we are briefly skipping over somebody who will come back. So I'll briefly go over what happens at that point, just for context. But after skipping over this person, we have the son of Shahrbaraz on the throne. So do you think he's going to do well? Do you think he's going to last more than his father? Is this a good start? Or no?
Well, it has been a time. Let me think. What did we see on our last episode? It was the guy who killed the child emperor, right?
Yes, that's right.
And immediately got killed by his royal guard.
That's right.
For antagonizing them, because, or not even antagonizing them, just for having someone of the royal family in his royal guard, when he is not of that same royal family, which seems really ridiculous to me.
I mean, he had 4 to 40 days.
Who's taking over?
Who's taking over after an interregnum, which we'll discuss. It's Shahrbaraz's son.
So the person who should have technically succeeded?
That's
I'm
sort of a question, but it's, yeah, kind of.
Who was Shahrbaraz?
It was the guy in the last episode who was murdered by his royal guard.
You see, that he made such an impact on me.
Yeah.
Shahrbaraz. Wait, so his son does succeed. Wait, that makes no sense then. So we're keeping the coup, or we're keeping the usurpation now.
Well, as I mentioned, there is sort of a short-lived person in the middle, which we're not covering right now, and then the son comes up and it's like, hey, look at me, I'm actually here.
Why aren't we covering them right now? Is it that bad? Please just enlighten me.
Well, the reason is that, well, first of all, this is a woman called Boran.
Oh, yeah, no, you mentioned
come back
her.
Later.
Yes.
Yes.
You mentioned her and it was like, oh no, she got the usual witch treatment of yes, evil woman has corrupted the king, sort of, or has killed, or, yeah.
Certainly,
so,
yes.
Oh, someone got bested by a woman. How could that be? Yeah. We mentioned this before, I remember. Okay.
So, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. All right, then, with low expectations, let's go into Shapur V, Shapur Shahrbaraz. But first of all, let's briefly recap Shahrbaraz's reign, because we mentioned
everyone
that
listening
we
to
don't
this
know
might
much
have
about
been
him.
thinking, what the heck are they talking about? Yeah.
Yes, if you're binge listening to everything in the future and you're doing 92 episodes in a row, great, cool, but, most people aren't. So Shahrbaraz was this great general of Khosrow. He was the leader of the armies in the west, and he's the one that conquered 2/3 of the Roman Empire, did a great job. But you remember from last time that he then received a letter, true or not, that Khosrow wanted to have him executed. So Shahrbaraz decided to abandon Khosrow and sort of stay in his own bit of the empire in Syria and just wait to see what happens. When Khosrow asked him for help, saying, hey, if you don't help us, the empire is gone, please come, Shahrbaraz just said, no, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
And then Shahrbaraz was generally obstructionist until the Child King was in control, And then Shahrbaraz managed to march on Ctesiphon, make himself king of kings,
Mhm.
and hooray, hooray, he became the ruler of all, went through a purge of nobles, and then was murdered like 42 days afterwards. So, okay, let's look at Shapur Shahrbaraz. The good thing is Shapur Shahrbaraz means Shapur, son of Shahrbaraz, so that explains his origins quite nicely. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
But we already met two children of Shahrbaraz called Nicetas and Nike, with Nicetas supposedly being the heir. Now, what do you remember about Nicetas? Because we mentioned a little bit about him being unusual.
Well, I remember mentioning that the name surprised me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it means victorious.
Yes.
And I was like, well,
But
that's...
in what language does it mean victorious?
In Greek.
Yeah, so the weird thing is that Nicetas was baptized a Christian by the Emperor Heraclius.
Yes.
And he was kept as a hostage in Rome while waiting for Shahrbaraz. And so the fact is that Nicetas was the guy who was supposed to succeed. He was supposed to be the first Christian king of kings. But he's off in the Roman Empire, and Shapur V is in Ctesiphon, so, well, what's he going to do? He's off in Rome.
Yeah.
I guess second son wins this one.
Yeah.
So, what is his legitimacy?
Mm-hmm.
He has legitimacy, well, from a couple of things. Well, first of all, his father was king of kings. Yes, he was usurped after like 40 days, but still kind of technically counts. His dynasty is now one that has had two kings, Bahram Chobin and Shahrbaraz, so they are building something up. But also, Shapur V is the grandson of Hormizd IV, the predecessor to Khosrow II.
Mm-hmm.
Because Shapur is the son of a sister of Khosrow II. So he does have some Sassanid blood in him. So it means that he is more legitimate than his father, at least.
Yeah.
Although you could question how much the line of succession should have worked.
We'll take it at this point.
It's like, I mean, we don't have many other adults who have royal blood, so I guess it's fine, I suppose.
Mm.
And as for when he was born, we don't know that much, except that he was an adult when he became king, so we can assume that he was born sometime between the 590s and 610s, thereabouts, making him, 20s to 40s. Because Shahrbaraz himself was in his 60s by the time he came to the throne, so it seems like a reasonable range. As for the rest of Shapur's life, we don't really know anything because Nicetas was meant to succeed, and he's the one involved in negotiations with Heraclius, while Shapur stayed home as backup, and Nicetas is, supposedly the one mentioned in all the treaties, the one that is meant to succeed, the one that's meant to be friends with the Romans, blah, 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 blah.
I love that.
But, well, he's too far away, and Shapur, the backup, gets to become king.
Shapur the backup. It's so odd because usually the only reason why a second son would succeed is because the first son died. So it's strange to me that just his physical distance would be enough. Because that could cause an issue really quickly.
Yeah.
If the son returns, right?
That's right. And, Nicetas would have the Roman army at his back.
Exactly.
But sort of the advantage that Shapur has is that the Romans have been exhausted. They have one army left in the empire, and they're not about to use it to just put some kid on the throne. So, maybe in some years when the Romans have recovered, might be a threat, but for now, it's at least calm enough, and Shapur can sort of take his gamble and see how it goes.
Must have been quite the strange... I don't know what Nicetas was thinking at the moment, right? Right now, what his plan is, or if he's like, oh, it will make sense to just go and recover the throne later, as opposed to him being humiliated by getting his birthright taken from him and not really being able to do anything about it.
Yeah. It's also a difficult thing to deal with because Nicetas draws his legitimacy from the Romans and from his father, Shahrbaraz. But Shahrbaraz was killed in 40 days, and Nicetas, it doesn't seem like he has royal blood. Doesn't look like he is also the son of the same sister of Khosrow II, or if he is, it's not mentioned that much. So his legitimacy is very thin, and he can't really enforce it without an army. So I think his hands are kind of tied. He needs to wait. I think he expects he's just going to be kept in the Romans' back pocket until it becomes convenient for him to be placed on the throne. Because the Romans would definitely love having a Christian emperor ruling Iran, but they need to have the resources to do that. And, well, now Shahrbaraz had his own army, one of the two armies left in the Sassanid Empire, and now it's supposedly under Shapur's control because he's just there.
Yep.
And he's the son of the previous generals. Like, yeah, I suppose he'll do.
Okay, so this happens. I will keep the brother in mind.
Exactly. Remember Nikitas? He shows up.
The strange Romanized Christian brother.
Yep, which is very different from what we've had so far, but he will show up at the Battle of Yarmouk.
I guess he was just the son of a general, right?
I mean, Shahrbaraz ruled so little that he is basically just the son of a general at this point. With some token legitimacy points.
Yeah, it's not like he was sent to Rome, like when he was the heir to the throne or something. Like other people.
He was sent to Rome when he was the heir to the throne. No, he was actually sent as insurance.
Oh.
When Heraclius recognized Shahrbaraz, Nikitas was part of the insurance and sent over.
Shahrbaraz ruled for so little time. I'm like, he didn't have time to do anything. It was, 48 days?
No. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like...
This is when the Romans recognized Shahrbaraz as king, and Nikitas as his heir. They said, okay, we'll trust you, we'll support your heir, but we'll keep him. So you go take the throne, and then we'll make some deals.
Yeah. I mean, because we knew that Shahrbaraz had deals with the Romans. They were the ones that, like, either intercepted the letter or brought him a fake letter or whatever, you know.
That's right, yes.
So obviously the Romans were at his side all the time, but... Yeah, okay, I see. So they do have the heir to the throne, you know, air quotes on that, but how legitimate is this? You know.
Yeah, I mean...
So let's see about Shapur, because apparently he is technically more legitimate. So
okay, but first, before we actually get to Shapur's reign, we need to take a moment to give some context for the interregnum.
Right.
Because there are a few months between the death of Shahrbaraz and his son's accession. Mm-hmm. So what happens there? Well,
this man
after
dies
the murder of Shahrbaraz.
Immediately.
Yes, this man is
killed by
killed.
One of his guards. Yep.
Yes, and none of the guards are arrested because apparently a lot of people had agreed that it was time for Shahrbaraz to go.
It did not take them long. Nobody liked him.
So the chief conspirators found out that there were no surviving adult male Sassanids. So they decide to go for a woman of all people. She was a daughter of Khosrow II and wife of Kavad II called Boran.
Mm-hmm.
And Boran is made Queen of Queens, and she appoints the head conspirator, a man called Farrukh Hormizd, who had stabbed personally Shahrbaraz.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, who I mind you is the son of Bendoy and an important member of the Ispabadan family, so he's descended from the uncles of Khosrow that tried to puppeteer him. Yeah,
he's distantly but close enough related to actual royal lineage.
That's right.
Yeah, which is why he killed the general. Yeah.
So Boran appoints Farrukh Hormizd as chief minister of the empire. So he's kind of regent. Basically, he is the strong hand while she stays in Ctesiphon and tries to convince everybody that no, it's okay, the royal dynasty is still in charge. Everybody calm down, please, for the love of God. And yeah, during her reign, she tried to stabilize power and sent an embassy to the Roman Emperor Heraclius to try and clear up some elements of the peace treaty, possibly handing back the relic of the True Cross. It's unclear when this relic actually came back. Some people say Shahrbaraz gave it back, some people say Boran. It's a messy time. The point is that it's going back. We're making friends with the Romans. According to certain sources, though, which are quite damning, Boran ended up returning to the peace treaty of 591 between Khosrow II and Maurice, which would be a really humiliating end to all of this, but she may have used it to buy Roman non-interference with the dynastic chaos going on in Ctesiphon. She's basically giving back everything that Shahrbaraz had regained and returning to the borders before Khosrow became king. If true, this would be a really, really bad treaty. But that's what Boran is trying to do to maintain order in the empire, and trying to make sure that the Romans don't invade again to put Nikitas on the throne. They just stay at home, do whatever, and just watch the chaos unfold. So we'll judge her for that in her episode, but we'll see. So on the one hand, that might be what happened, but on the other, it might just be an exaggeration from the sources, because I don't know how Boran expected to survive long if she gave away all these lands after peace was already made. And also, the Romans were already exhausted, so it's very unlikely they would have been able to intervene anyway. So it's kind of unclear if Boran just gave away all these lands in exchange for peace, or if she just said, no, we already have a peace.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to do this again. This is fine. We'll just send you maybe back a relic for good relations, and hey, keep Nicetas quiet. But otherwise, it should be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case, this did not sit well with certain people in the capital, and it ended up with her being deposed, and Shapur V crowning himself as king, with a little bit of legitimacy coming from a Sassanid mother being a hope for a longer reign than his father, who was entirely separate from the old royal dynasty. So, hooray, Shapur is king after Boran, who is still alive and hanging around though, but that's why we'll have an episode on her in the future. How do you think this is taken in the Empire? How do you think people treat the accession of Shapur V?
Man, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Nobody seemed to care much about Shahrbaraz. The previous king was a regent, but people thought he was, not as young as he was. But, the actual king was not as young as he was. This guy is allied with the Romans. Also, just, they keep making things worse for everybody as, a person living in the Empire. You have unrest, and then you have people making more unrest on top of the unrest. Which, yes, I get it that if you want to orchestrate, a coup or you want to usurp the throne, you want a moment of unrest to do it. But if then you don't solve anything, you just make everything worse for everybody. So, between that and the affiliation with the Romans, I don't know if people hate them. I just, how would you even have any faith on who's on the throne right now?
That is exactly what is going on, Serial, because legitimacy has been shattered entirely. There's no use even pretending there's a line of succession, because this is the fourth king in a year.
Yeah, you ask me what people think, and I'm like, do they even, have, and, at this point, it's just indifference and rage, probably.
That is entirely the mood in the Empire, because we started this year with the child king Ardashir III, followed by the non-Sassanid usurper Shahrbaraz, followed by the woman king Boran, and now Shapur V, who is the son of a usurper and the nephew to a king. Which, what is this legitimacy even? What happens? Why? It's at this point that Shapur V, in his brand new office, receives a lovely message containing the situation of the Empire in just a few creative words. So this document says, we're so f***ed. Oh no. Because the Empire is tearing itself apart now, with pretenders popping up in charge of different armies, claiming all the Empire but being unable to hold on to anything. So in a way, this is like the end of the Seleucid Empire or the beginning of the Parthian Empire, with central authority disintegrating and many local kings popping up. Also, many noble generals rebelling means that they aren't paying attention to the frontiers. And there are rumors of something important happening in Arabia, but we're too busy with our own thing to pay attention. So, Serial, let's go through all the people claiming to be king at this time.
Oh, yippee! Happiness,
Woo.
joy.
Yeah.
How long is the list?
There are 4 more kings outside of Shapur V. Okay. So there are 5 kings in general with at least a minimum amount of legitimacy. Although, what does it mean at this point anyway?
Yep.
So first of all, we have Khosrow III, a brilliant name. Yep. I'm sure he'll do well.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a number.
Yeah, exactly. It counts. So he was either a son of Khosrow II, who had escaped the Great Purge, or a son of Kavad II, which would explain why he has no beard in his coins, a lot like Ardashir III.
Yeah. I doubt he escaped the Purge. People don't tend to. Like in real stories.
Yeah,
you know?
Could have just been a little brother to Ardashir III who was still around. And, well, he had the legitimacy of being a full Sassanid and was elevated by some of the eastern nobles to rule the region of Khorasan. Serial, according to Al-Tabari, and I quote, he assumed the crown and sat down upon the royal throne, but was killed a few days after his accession.
Yeah! So,
Although, to be fair, based on coins, it looks like he ruled a couple of years in the East, or at least people claimed he did. So it's actually totally legitimate and cool. Contender number 3 is Khosrow IV. Another brilliant name. He'll do great. He was supposedly another surviving son of Khosrow II, surviving the Purge, with a sort of legitimate claim to the throne. And he was mainly located on the Roman border near Nisibis in a fortress called the Stone Fortress, where he was supported by the garrison there and the limited remains of the army that had been defeated by the Romans.
That's a cool name. It reminds me of the Superman one. Where is it? The Ice... What?
The Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah. Yes. Equally cool.
Exactly.
Well,
the Stone
I guess
Fortress. He's going to do great.
The Superman one is a bit more, has a bit more oomph. But I'll take it.
Beggars can't be choosers right now. So yeah, he's in the Stone Fortress. It's basically him in a fort with some soldiers saying, "Look at me, I'm king." And it's likely that his name wasn't Khosrow, but he just decided to change his name because he desperately needed some legitimacy. And remember the good old times, everybody? Khosrow was fine. We were doing so well under Khosrow. Please help us. For the love of God. And he apparently tried to take a city, but the local people rose up and ended his reign. So that's it. This man had a fort, tried to take a city, and failed. There was another regional ruler called Peroz II, who chose the regnal name Peroz, which means victory, to try and twist the arms of fate and make sure that it's actually going to be fine, it's going to be okay. Because he was probably somehow related to the Sassanid line, although things are desperate enough right now that he may have only been maternally descended from the royal dynasty. So he was the great-grandson of Khosrow I through a granddaughter. So what the hell? Like, how does this happen? It's, how legitimate is this?
Yeah.
Although, hilariously, it looks like our sources say that he was made king by the nobles entirely against his will. Because he looked at the state of the empire and decided, I don't want any of this. Please, no, don't make me king. This is going to be... I'll be murdered in like a year. What's going on? Someone
with enough intelligence here and like self-preservation instinct.
Yep, but apparently the nobles threatened his life and said, you're going to be king whether you like it or not.
So you either die now or die later.
All right, I guess. Yeah. Fine. Sure. Maybe this will work out. Who knows? He was apparently beset by an evil omen since he had a large head. And when he was crowned, he exclaimed, how tight this crown is.
Everyone has a different size of a head.
No, but this means you're cursed from heaven. You can't do this. And he was deposed a few days later for being inadequate. So the nobles are really just flexing their power, making and unmaking a king based on nothing, just because they can, and everything is on fire, it's the end times, what are we going to do anyway?
Yep.
So, fun times. And last but certainly least is Farrukhzad Khosrow, who was instead a son of Khosrow II, who had supposedly fled the purge of Fuad II, and was also made king by some ambitious nobles. So it looks like this purge was very ineffectual because a bunch of survivors are popping up afterwards. So it's either a bunch of random imposters or this purge wasn't very effective in the first place. Who knows?
I feel like this is just a good reason to pretend that you are part of the royal family. Because it's like, oh, nobody can prove that I didn't escape magically the purge, Exactly. It's kind of like the Anastasia sort of narrative.
Yeah, true.
If you want to make a claim...
Can't prove it. It might have happened.
It's a good way to do it. You're like, well, no, of course you wouldn't know about me because I escaped. And if you had known, then I would have died. Did you count
all the bodies? I don't think so. Yeah.
Were you there? Did you know everyone personally?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Farrukhzad Khosrow also had a brilliant time because the local population quickly rebelled against him because who are you? What do you mean you're the long-lost secret heir? I don't believe you. And according to some sources, he was later killed, doing the purge's job for it. And during all this time, what do you think Shapur did?
Hide. and pray. What is he ruling? Who's taking care of the empire? What's happening?
Well, Shapur is in charge at Ctesiphon.
Yeah.
And then eventually the nobles thought, no.
Of
You're
course.
being deposed. Goodbye. He was still kept alive, though, so that's nice.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. And he was replaced with his cousin, the sister of Boran and another daughter of Khosrow II, a woman called Azarmidocht.
I mean, I guess we're appointing women now, which, like, cool.
Exactly.
But I can't imagine that the nobles are, like, thrilled. At this point, what are they doing? I love that they're so incompetent. The nobles are so incompetent that they not only, and I'm not saying this because they appointed a woman. Oh my god, please. The nobles are so incompetent that even when they have free reign to either rule themselves or appoint a ruler, they can't even do that right. They have one job that they asked for.
Yeah, also every noble family is out for themselves now, so it's just every noble family has their own king, and it's just a thing. But yeah, Azarmidocht is now made Queen of Queens by Faruk Hormizd, remember the guy who had previously installed Boran and had killed Shahrbaraz, that guy, the leader of the Ispabadan family. And we're told that during his remaining life, Shapur supported a marriage between Faruk Hormizd and Azarmidocht, to combine the legitimacy of a great noble family with the royal line. So the idea was, we can fix everything, we just need to mix this noble family with the Sassanid line, and this new noble family can become the new royal line. Hooray. Problem solved.
Sure. I'm not going to question anything from now on anymore. Yeah. I can't. It's whatever.
Yes. However, the Queen Azarmidocht refused this and said, I'm not going to marry one of my subjects. I'm already enough of a puppet as it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just go overboard with this and just marry my regent. Let's just keep things regular. So she was angered by Shapur's agreement and supposedly tried to punish him. And that is the last that we hear of Shapur V, because he fades away into history. Although, seeing the broad behavior of all the other regional kings, I wouldn't be surprised if he had been killed in the remaining struggles for succession, because nobody hears anything about Shapur V again. And that's Shapur V's life. Next episode is going to be Azarmidocht, our first Queen of Queens since Musa. Maybe she'll do great. Who knows?
Sure.
Also, our third last episode. Well, actually, now you know all the names of the people in the next episodes, because you know Azarmidocht, you know Boran's coming back, and you know Yazdegerd III. So, that's it.
Yep.
That's all we have left.
I guess that's it. Can we just keep the women and throw all the men away? For a change,
we can try. People
Musa
certainly
did
try.
Well.
Exactly. I mean,
you know.
She did questionably well. She did well for herself. Well for the Empire, not so much.
Well.
But hey, girl power.
Remember Parisatis?
Parisatis is also very cool.
The queen.
That was a while ago, but yeah. So, Serial, what is your mood? How is the Empire doing?
Nothing matters anymore. Everything's on fire. Just let whatever has to happen. People need to take care of themselves, since the government is in shambles. And don't get me wrong, the government should not be in shambles. The government is a very useful tool to get people the help that they might need that will be otherwise hard to organize in a small community. But I feel like for the people in the Empire, probably all they can do is take care of their small communities. Take care of each other, make sure everyone is as well as they can be individually.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people are trying to do right now, but we'll see how successful they are.
Because, what else? Yeah, everything is terrible. You can only hope that it won't be terrible forever.
Yeah, although it's hard to see a way out at this point, but, we'll see. Because there are a lot of regional kings trying to take care of their people, but then eventually the only way they can survive is if they claim everything.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to try and claim all the empire and reunify it at some point, or just accept that it's broken and who cares about legitimacy. That's it. The empire's over.
Which, maybe.
Yeah, see how that works. Because, Serial, can you tell that we're getting close to the Middle Ages? The Middle Ages will be at the end of Yastigerd III.
Indeed.
There's a reason the podcast ends.
I thought we were
The end of
at
late
the Middle
antiquity
Ages
is here.
already, but I guess it depends where you count them from.
Yeah, we're in the Middle
right?
Ages by Western accounts. We're about
Yes.
150 years into it, but by here we've been continuing our late antiquity, and we're just now in the death throes of it.
I see. Yeah. Do we also get feudalism here? Or is that purely
No.
a Western system?
Feudalism is mainly a Western system born out of the
Great.
Carolingian
Because
Empire.
I'd love to not do that ever again.
We have a different interesting thing. Also, Serial, in 3 episodes, the nobles will be eradicated.
Oh my god, finally. Okay,
How does that happen? Who knows?
I'm looking forward to that.
Something
Great.
to look forward to. Yeah, exactly. We
Oh.
will have a new system, which is different and exciting. So we'll find out what that is.
Amazing. Can't wait. My condolences to everybody living in the Empire now.
Yeah, it's not good. This is just such a terrible time.
Any comparisons to current or present moments in history are purely coincidental.
No, of course not, Serial. I'm sure no empire is falling right now. It's all right.
History is history. Yeah, let's rate him.
Our first category is final moments. How interesting was his death? Just fading away into nothingness after
a
making
0.
a bad marriage proposal. Yep, I think there is just nothing much.
It's one of the worst
Yeah,
ones we've
0.
heard.
It's very bad, really. So, yeah, with a 0 and a 0, he gets a 0 out of 10 for final moments.
Yeah.
Our next category is battle hardness. How good was he at war and fighting? Well, he's not able to hold the empire together. It's falling apart because he has no legitimacy and everything is on fire. He doesn't fight personally. He's the backup son, and we know nothing about him. We just know that his brother Niketas is saying, I mean, come on, I could probably do a better job. But,
Yeah, so, mystery.
yeah.
We'll never know.
So I think this is a nice goose egg as well. So with a 0 and a 0, he gets a 0 out of 20 for battle hardness. Our next category is scheminess. How good was he at plots and manipulations? He did manage to make himself king, full stop.
Yep, that's it.
Because he has no legitimacy. He just managed to stage a coup in court and then get overthrown a few months later. If
Yep.
that. So, it's not a good time. I think I might give him a token point because at least he did have some agency in his taking control.
If you want to. Like, I won't stop you.
Fine. I will give him a full 1. Just for the hell of it. Are you staying with the 0?
I am.
Okay. So with a 1 and a 0, you get a 1 out of 20 for scheminess. Our next category is shock factor. How shocking was this man? He thought that making himself king at this point was a good idea.
Which,
That's an option.
a choice, truly.
Yeah. The empire is just falling apart under him and he isn't able to control it, but I don't know if that's just negative for Aaron Shine. So yeah, do you think he deserves a point for shock factor or do you think it's just nothing?
I'm finding it hard to... I mean, as shocking as it is to want to be king, which, my dude, really.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe 1 point for that. Because truly, why would you choose to do that?
Sure. I think I'll join with 1 point as well, just for the audacity of what this man has done.
Well, wasn't he... Like, who did the nobles force to be king and they were like, please no?
Perros II.
That is the correct reaction.
That is a reasonable reaction saying, no, really, I don't want this.
Yeah.
This is terrible. That is entirely understandable.
Yes.
So yeah, so with a 1 and a 1, he gets a 2 out of 20 for shock factor.
Yeah, he does.
Our next category is Aaron Shine. How good was he for the Empire in general and Iran in particular? The Empire is burning. It is on fire. It is gone. Describing it still as an empire is already complicated. You're going to need some heroic strengths to actually fix things because it's just splintering into a million pieces and the royal court is just smaller and smaller, holding on to some core territories, and that's it. and everybody is suffering. It's terrible. Remember, Cyril, this is still in the aftermath of the plague. The plague is still going around.
Literally everything is
What
bad.
is going on? Everything is awful, and Shapur has done nothing to help. He's just helped overthrow Boran, who was doing an okay job, and now he's just broken everything. Legitimacy is shattered. There is nothing left. So I think there is no problem with giving him a full 0.
Yep. Agreed.
So yeah. With a 0 and a 0, he gets a 0 out of 20 for Aaron Shine. Our next category is Face of Faces. What do you think this man looked like?
Give me a minute.
And I cannot send you a crown, Serial, because he doesn't have one.
Like, that makes sense.
Okay, so Serial has finished their drawing. Let me pick it up and I'll describe it to you all. That's good. I like it. It's very cute, to be fair. I don't think he deserves it to be this cute, but I like it.
Well, you know.
Well, what we have here, dear listeners, is a small chibi man. He has the typical robes we've come to get used to, and very nice fluffy beard. It looks like a cloud. It's brilliant. And he is wearing a crown, probably Khosrow's crown, because, yeah, you know, the last good one we've had. And he's trying to desperately hold on to it as 6 hands from the edges of the frame come out and try and take the crown from him. And they will eventually succeed, but probably ripping the crown apart in the process. So, fun times. Very appropriate, Serial. Thank you very much. And if anybody wants to see this drawing, you can go to our Discord if you're a patron in the episode notes down below. Or go to our website and go to Serial's Portrait Gallery where you can see all our portraits. And now, Serial, do you want to know what he looks like?
Can we?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah,
there are no images of Shapur V. He is just maybe kind of existing, sort of. Who knows? So it's just very sad, very desperate. But, you know, we're doing what we can, Serial.
We sure are.
Which is not much, honestly. So that's a 0 across the board for Face of Faces. With a 0 and a 0, we get a 0 out of 5 for Face of Faces. Our next category is lengthiness. How long do you think this man reigned?
11
And I will
days.
say, we do not have an exact number.
I reference this all the time, and I don't think anybody gets it. It's such a weird, obscure reference.
It's a good reference, though. Yeah. But yeah, we don't really know how much he's reigned, so I just went on estimates. I assume that we know that Shahrbaraz ruled for 40-ish days. We know how long his successor reigns. And so I've decided that the reign of Boran before him and his were sort of equally dividing the remaining bit of the year. So I've just said that they both reigned for 4 months. So Shapur gets 4 months, which divided by 10 years is 0.025 out of 5 for lengthiness. From sometime in 630 to sometime in 630.
Yep.
Hooray. Which brings us to the final score, which is a grand total serial of 3.025 out of 100, placing him just above Xerxes II, because he ruled for maybe an extra month based on my estimate, and below Adurnarse, who was also barely there. So he is in the exciting zeros club. He is far above Khosrow the Usurper, because he at least did something. So, you know, positive signs. Exciting. And that brings us to the final question, which is to say, is he insignificant enough? Is he foolish enough? Is he screwed enough to be a Shahanshah? Or is he just a Shahnah?
No. No, like, it wasn't even a good story.
No, there's not much here. We're just grasping at straws at this point. So yeah. Sorry, Shapur. You are going to go off into the desert to meet your father, Shahrbaraz, and tell him that, hey, you ruled for like maybe an extra month or something. That's progress. Something. You know, if you continue like this in your generations, maybe in 1,000 years, you'll end up ruling a couple years. That'd be cool.
Maybe.
So thank you all for listening. We hope you had a lovely time. And we hope you'll join us next time and the one after that for two
I
women.
am so excited for this.
Can you believe it? Women
Even if
on
it's...
the throne. That'll be fun. They even have crowns,
Yay!
Serial. I will
So
spoil
they are
you
already
this.
better
They
than
have
this
crowns.
guy. The bar is very low.
Exactly. Didn't take much, but they already are better.
Oh.
So that'll be exciting. You can meet Azarmidokht and see what it's like to be a woman in a crumbling empire.
I'm sure it's
exciting things.
just terrible.
Yes, pretty much.
Whose lives are good in this period? Because not even the rich people are having a good time.
I think the Romans are doing fine now.
I guess. I meant in the Iranian...
I think
I meant
is
in
doing
the
okay.
Persian Empire.
Yeah. Nobody's doing well.
Just the plague is still...
They're just waiting for somebody to save them. And hey, maybe somebody is coming to save them, Serial. I will tell you, we have 20 years left and 3 episodes.
Okay.
So, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. I do not trust you, but yeah.
We'll see. And so if you would like to support us and hear more from us, you can join our Patreon, where there's a bunch of extra episodes on different topics that are related to people around Iran in the time periods we've covered. And just coming up next week is going to be Artabanus IV, the last ruler of the Parthian Empire. So we're in a period of endings right now, so it would be interesting to see how the Parthian Empire ended while the Sassanids were just starting up so many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If instead you'd rather not support us monetarily, that's fine, but we'd appreciate if you could give us a review on your podcast app of choice. Let them know that we are getting to the end. Let them know that they can binge listen to everything and that, hey, we have more than 2 women. That's cool.
More than 2 women.
I mean, come on. It's better than some modern countries, so brilliant.
True. Isn't this so f***ed up?
It is, yes.
It
Sarah.
strikes me anew every once in a while, and I just... What the hell, you guys?
It's not good. We do
must
better.
do better.
Everybody should do better.
Anyway, tune in next time.
Anyway, yay! Tune in for fun history. And in that case, without any further ado, we hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.